Hello everyone, welcome back. This episode here, I'm going to talk about something interesting I've been playing around with. This is not too much of a trading. It is a little bit, but in this episode, I want to talk about how you can basically turn a virtual Bitcoin into a physical property. So how do you take a Bitcoin and bring it into this physical world? So I'm going to use this as an example here. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, and I kind of got the tripod out, so because I kind of need both hands to demonstrate this. So basically, what I'm going to attempt to do now with my Bitcoins now is I'm going to try to embed it into a physical property, like this thing that kind of looks like a round coin. You can make it a round coin, you know. If you know what this is, then you know where to get one. But I could do a lot of interesting things, okay? So I'm going to try to embed a Bitcoin into this property, just fuse it into this property, and then I'm going to use it to show a transaction that actually happened of something physical in this world over the blockchain using a Bitcoin. So, and that's how I infuse it into this property. And so I'm going to see if that's possible. I don't see why not. It's going to depend a lot upon your wallets, actually. So that's another. I think this episode is also like a wallet episode, because if you have the right type of wallet, you'll be able to, I guess, embed a Bitcoin into a physical property now. And so, anyways, I'm gonna just maybe I'll mark something. I'll put a design on it or something, make it unique, or maybe I'll just send it out like this. And in any case, if I do get a trade, it's not going to be your normal trade. This is you're trading in the physical world instead of pushing buttons, or even trading Bitcoin for cash. This is another level in which you are somewhat creating your own money, or you can say creating your own tokens, or you're creating Bitcoins. You could say that, because any inanimate object can become, I guess another word, I guess, become a Bitcoin, or you can infuse a Bitcoin onto this object. And like this. So I can infuse Bitcoin onto this, transfer the ownership of this Bitcoin for whatever agreement, and then once someone receives it, again using the blockchain and certain wallets and their capabilities and what they can do, once the other party receives this, some transactions going on the blockchain at the same time. And so once you receive this and everything's good, you paid for this property for an embedded Bitcoin on this, any inanimate object, but really you could do it on anything. After that, you can embed it onto a new object. So the new owner of this property, which has a Bitcoin embedded, can now transfer that Bitcoin onto another inanimate object, like this, right? So this is my original that I put out, sold it, transferred it, traded it, something physical. You probably have to pay a little bit more because you mail it, but I don't know what the postage is these days, like 45 cents or something. So just put it into a little envelope and send it out to a physical, you can say physical address, because that's all you're sending is this thing right here. And then when the next person gets it, they get it. If their trade goes through, their payment goes through for the trade, whatever their barter for the trade, as soon as that go through, you got a code that'll let you release the embedded Bitcoin into anything that you want, which would be, hey, how about I'll embed it to this? I'll infuse it into the same way I embedded Bitcoin into this. But remember, these aren't Bitcoins for real, they're just created tokens. So you made a physical token that represents Bitcoin in the virtual reality. And so that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to bring Bitcoin into the physical world. So again, once it's traded, the new owner can embed it or use Bitcoin, or just take the Bitcoin, whatever. If they wanted to use the same concept, they could create their own token, which could be anything. It could be this. It could be a pin. I could say, hey, I embedded Bitcoin into this token, and it's branded or embedded, attached. And literally, you could just take any inanimate object and do that. If you're a little creative, which I'm not sure if I'll. Well, maybe I will put something on it, just to say, hey, I'm going to try to make this a little Bitcoin token, a physical Bitcoin token, like the Chuck E. Cheese little tokens you get. That's only good at Chuck E. Cheese. Well, let's see if I just make this something, I can just see if it comes back, because you are trading, you could buy and sell, and so it'll be interesting how this works out. So in this episode I want to talk about how you can do that. So I hope you all got that, you understood what I said. And the wallet thing is, again, you're sharing the capability of sharing wallets now. That's why I got my two hands here, that you can use the same Bitcoin or Bitcoins and share it to two owners of the same properties, and you both can use it. It's kind of interesting, but you never really released it. It's still held on there. So this Bitcoin helps connect your agreement as far as it goes. So that's kind of why I'm trying to do a physical representation of this. And so I hope that kind of helped. Anyways, a lot of other ideas I can do with this, and any other inanimate objects. You can I can pair two inanimate objects and make it one Bitcoin and divisible by two. I mean, just something I could play around. So I can sell individually at a different price, and then bring them back both the same way, or bring them back. If you got one or the other, they're good for whatever they're worth. But if you could bring them back, if you could find these two things, maybe it's worth a more premium. I don't know. So just something to play around with. But let's see how it works. So I want to bring that episode here. So that's how you embed or make real Bitcoins in the physical world. Anyways, let's do a little news. I'll do a little news and maybe get into the chart. So let me see what's the news, or what's happening. So supposedly there's network congestion, spamming, supposedly. I don't understand that stuff. All I want to know is the Bitcoin going to show up on the blockchain? And I've been trading. I have been paying higher fees, but really they're not a lot. I think maybe they're like 20 cents. I don't know, I haven't calculated it, but I know it's not like $1, $2 um, on a per one Bitcoin basis. So if you, of course, you have a larger amount, it'll be a lot more. But anyways, I've been trading. It's been going through. Um, it's kind of set to pay to make sure it goes through. So and it does. And so I've been getting it done. I haven't checked it on the blockchain yet, but my wallet says it went through, so I'm pretty sure it does. It may be pending or whatever, but you got it. So this could be difficult for some, especially if you don't have any Bitcoins, because you got to have some Bitcoins in order to transact if the pending transactions are slow, especially if they're coming your way, because there's still a chance that it may not stay on the blockchain. Small chance. But I've witnessed something like this. I had a wallet one time, and I had a bunch of like really small fractional amounts of Bitcoin go in there, and it was weird. Some of it stayed, some of it disappeared. They were all like unconfirmed for a very, 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 very long time. And so can it show up in your wallet and look like it's in there? Yeah, it can. But until you get at least one confirmation, you don't know if it stayed there. Because I have witnessed something like that with very fractional amounts of Satoshis. Even fractional for a Satoshi, a really small amount, on a wallet one time. And I've also played around with transacting unconfirmed transaction. I know they're good because they come from me, and so those transactions will go through. I'm worried about the transactions that you're transacting off an unconfirmed transaction. A little worrisome sometimes because I've seen the fractional amounts, but all the trades that I've done, everything I've sent, that I've played around with as far as unconfirmed transactions, they all actually eventually still get approved or they get confirmed. So I never had one that didn't. Never had anyone come back to me and say, hey, I never got these Bitcoin, and I look it up on the blockchain and there it is, and I go, well, I see it. So never had any of that happen, but I've seen some dust come into my wallet and have disappeared. So that's happened. So as far as the spamming, it hasn't affected me if you adjusted for higher fees. And for me, I already have Bitcoins to trade. So even though when things get tight like this, you can still trade. So that's the point of having Bitcoin. This is the way you can actually just really survive, I guess. I don't know what else to say, but as long as you're trading, you're able to survive. If you're not trading, then you're not making any gains. And so if you can't get any Bitcoins to trade, you can't make any gains. Especially if you're out of Bitcoins. But if you have Bitcoins, you can leverage your trade now by literally sharing that that wallet which has X amount of Bitcoins, and then you can leverage that. You can both make a claim to it, right? And so what it does is it allows how many parties that own this particular wallet with X amount of Bitcoins to make a claim that there's X amount of Bitcoins that they can trade. And what's nice is that if you're all partners in this wallet, you all can talk to each other and say, hey, I found someone who wants X amount for these Bitcoins. And you all can say, hey, that sounds great, let's trade. Or we can get a castle in some island. I don't know, some island. Small or big, but a nice castle. And y'all can say, yeah, let's do it. We'll trade it. You can talk amongst each other, or just buy it outright. Whoever partner wants to just buy it outright at whatever price. So it's basically finding an opportunity to use these Bitcoins. And so, but we all share this and have access to the full amount. All you have to do is just buy it out. But so everyone's holding on to it. It just gets bought out into the group of people. So that's another way you can think about it. If you make it physical, then you can make 5 of these. I mean, if you wanted to, and say, yeah, whatever. I mean, it's just a token, a representation of what's going on in the blockchain, and so you can have fun with it. And it is property. It is something that I guess in some legal aspects is remedied through this situation with Bitcoin if anyone has any issues of legality. So you can say, hey, I sold this thing for whatever, which represents the transaction on the blockchain, which is the Bitcoin I embedded here. A representation of it physically representing it on the virtual reality. So anyways, I'm going to play around with that. I'm going to see if that works. What else is in the news? A big story I've heard is, I guess, a bank accepting Bitcoins, another bank, for charity donations. I don't know how much of it's like just using this as a way to pay and then turning this back into money with some other exchange company, but that's another thing. There's another news out there about that. And then there's another exchange. I think the bank was Barclays. I don't know that bank. I don't bank there. So let's see here. Sorry about that. Another news is another peer-to-peer trading platform was not available to trade. The platform itself was not available to trade. They were on outage for whatever reason, and that company was Local Bitcoins. So there was a time when Local Bitcoins was out. I was still able to trade because I have Bitcoins outside of those platforms, and I'm trying to use my wallet to become a platform to trade peer-to-peer. So anyways, they were out. I was trading at the time, and I was trying to compare market prices with some of my prices, and that's when I couldn't see anything. It was I couldn't see the website. So I was thinking to myself, well, this does happen. I've been through that, and if they say the Bitcoins are there and then the Bitcoins will be there. So anyways, that's what I've experienced, so I wouldn't worry about it, but I'm not really worried about it. So, but that's just news. I am a little worried because now there's no market price for this, so on a peer-to-peer level, like if you're doing this independently and privately, um, anything goes, really. It's kind of like, I'm not going to say it's on lockdown or on freeze. It kind of feels that way because you got the spamming going on, and then you got these platforms, or one in particular platform not trading or not available to trade. That was a little disruptive, I guess, that happening, but it does happen. Um, it does seem like Bitcoins are going on a lockdown. It does seem like that, but it's not. You can say it just slowed down, the pace of it had to slow down because a lot of people were unable to trade. So, but for those who were, um, you could pick up a few new trades here and there, and of course you strengthened your already existing trades with your uh, people you trade with normally. Kind of shows that you come through, and that does build security and some confidence, I guess. That's on a peer-to-peer level. After that, I don't know what other news. Okay, what else did I want to quickly talk about? I'll eventually try to get to a chart analysis here. So the last thing I want to talk about is this whole different scenarios going on with the blockchain and how they want to use it. And I was wondering, and I'm just going to throw this out since it's open for discussion. Could there be a possible chance that you can have a web or a cluster of different uh, blockchains, sub-blockchain, roots of blockchain, but they're all working together? One particular blockchain is for small blocks, one particular blockchain is for big blocks, and the third blockchain is whatever. I mean, I wonder if it's possible you could have 1,000,000 blockchains. They all do the same thing. They all send the same Bitcoins. They're all interlinked. You just have to pick the importance of the transaction, and it gets minored feed the same way, appropriately to whatever network. I don't know, but can it be a cluster? Can we call the whole thing the blockchain? I don't know. I was just thinking about it. So it just got more intricate within the whole system. That's all. That's kind of how I would see it. So, but the important thing is it would have to be all usable for the same Bitcoin. They all have to agree on the amount that's really out there. They have to recognize each other's network as valid. Because wherever the Bitcoin goes, what side of the blockchain the Bitcoin goes, if they can make it that way, that's what gets rewarded. I don't know. I'm thinking in like blockchain terms, Anyway, sometimes it confuses the hell out of me too. But I'm not a programmer or anything. I'm just thinking, just in my head. So, anyways, those are the two things that I think I'm talking about. I like to talk about, and I just did. And again, bringing this back up. So let's go to a chart analysis. All right. So let me see. I talked about news, all this other stuff, my trades, some trades. Okay, let's go back to the trades. I did want to talk about how the flow of trading, I think for some people, has not been disrupted at all. For those people who have really good network out there, small trades, large trades, micro trades, whatever you've set up out there that you built for yourself, you should all be doing great. You should be just doing just fine. You should be trading without any problems. Um, it's those that never built their own network, kind of quote unquote, never built their own network, and they don't have any bitcoins right now. This is tough because it does seem like it's on lockdown. So, anyways, let's go into a chart analysis now. I'm on a 3-day Bitfinex, and I'm looking at it right here, and I'm kind of looking at it, and it's following, it's steady right around here, which for the most part that's kind of where I've been collecting all my gains, right around this price level. So let's see what happens. Is it going to try to shoot back up? Is it going to go down? I'm not too worried about it because I'm starting to use my bitcoins to do other stuff. I've gone beyond the trading of Bitcoin for actual money, or money into Bitcoin in a virtual sense. Now I'm trying to pull Bitcoin from virtual reality into the physical world through some representation or token. So I'm not too worried about it. I'm really experimenting a lot, so this is going to be really interesting to see what happens. I'll go into a 12-hour. But so far, my point in this is that I see it kind of just leveling off. Let me see, leveling, and that works for me. 12-hour. Okay, on the 12-hour, it looks like it's been consolidating. It's been really bouncing in between. It's fallen a little bit below, but it's squeezing in tighter and tighter. And you can also make a line here. I've been looking at this for a while, and you kind of make a line. You can kind of see it's getting closer. We'll see if it breaks out and just floats around or shoots up. It could just hit down and come back down and go up, or go back down further. It's hard to imagine going down further, but I'll be there to catch it if I can. I already got some limit orders in there, so if I can catch a quick spike downwards, yeah, why not? I'm willing to take that risk. As the price goes down, the risk becomes less and the reward becomes greater. It's kind of weird how this works out. I know that sounds so biased, and again, I am pretty biased because I have bitcoins and I like them to go up in value or be able to be traded for a higher value. And so, but again, if it's lower value, it just allows me to get more bitcoins. So that's just the strategy I take. So anyways, you can see the line going down. We'll see what happens right about here, whether it's going to hit here and then come down, or just be able to break on through. That's on 12-hour, and it seems pretty reasonable because you can see the resistance line right there. It's pretty solid right around here in this area right there. So okay, let me get rid of this. And then let's go to an hour. Let's see what's going on. There hasn't been a lot of movement. Let me go back to 12. You see how it's really small right here. Let me take you out. So you're gonna do the floating head thing here. So excuse me. So you can see right here, it really hasn't moved a lot. It's been in range, and that's kind of what it's been doing. It's been riding between these two. And let's go to an hour. And this is the whole process right here. And I've just been playing in this range. I'm waiting, just like everyone else. Again, kind of you see this upflow going up. And right now, what time is it? It's about almost 3 o'clock. 1, 2, 3, 4. So you can see again in the morning, price going up. Towards the end of the day, when things aren't selling or people have bought their bitcoins that can buy bitcoins, you'll see a little sell-off in towards the afternoon right here. See that? So it goes up and then comes down. So morning, we're kind of in the afternoon. Looks like things are slowing down. People going to lunch. Oh no. People just said, okay, I'm done for the day. Whatever works for you. It's coming down, and this is where you take advantage of these higher and lower prices. You buy in the morning, do your trading, cash out during the day. Up to you, or it could even spike up maybe after people come back from lunch. They start trading like crazy. Who knows? But you can see kind of like a little pattern going on here for the meantime. I don't know how long this is going to last. I think from the 12-hour, it may have a little bit more time because it's got still. I'll just go ahead and make that line. It's still got some ways to go. So it's still got some ways to go. So let's just do that so I can. So it's still got it's still got this much time to go. So maybe one more day. Maybe we'll see a break here soon, going up or going down. I'm just waiting. Trading volatility is another way of making a gain, or a gain in either US dollars or Bitcoin. Usually when there's volatility, the prices also fluctuate between all the other exchanges, and then you can do some kind of form of arbitrage through the exchange. Not a lot, but depending on what you're trying to make a gain on, if you have it set up where you're making a gain in bitcoins or some virtual fiat currency, which you're eventually going to buy, bitcoins anyway. Depends what you're doing. You can actually make a small amount, and they add up. They add up. It doesn't seem like it, but if you do it every day, and you progress that trade into larger trades, it becomes a very big amount of investment, possibly in the future. It's possible. So, anyways, let's go on and see what happens. I'm anticipating something to happen. If not, it may just go sideways for very long, which I think that's a good sign, because then it's not following this trend anymore. So even if it just goes sideways, I still like that sign. There's still another trade out there, another line here to be had. So this is the second line right here. So this from here to this top, there's a second line here. So just because it breaks out of here doesn't mean it's going to start going gangbusters. It'll probably maybe stop here and ride this a little bit, and that's the kind of sideways I'm talking about. If it breaks above that, remember it's got 1, 2, and then maybe a horizontal bottom right here, 3 to break through to I think advance, to show that it's really going to be advancing. So I'm going to watch for those particular price signals and see what happens. If it doesn't, expect to buy more bitcoins at a lower price. So anyways, hopefully this this helps. I know this episode was kind of different. It is very different. I'm going to be doing a lot of experimental things on what I as an individual can do with somewhat of a sophisticated wallet or wallet provider, and then applying those to the physical world somehow in a property transaction, real estate property transaction. I could also tie it to a date, a certain event. A timeline, if you will. Lots of interesting things. And it can all be done using Bitcoin right now, if you have any. Not only using Bitcoin, but the actual existing blockchain. And, I'm going to have fun with it. I'm going to play around with it. And if it works, I think it's going to work. It's just a question of who else is going to participate. Now, this is where the market participation is going to really be required if you want to make this real. So, anyways, I gotta go. Unless I got a message come in. Feel free to like, dislike, leave a comment. Also, video response. Until next time, stay tuned. Bye.